Hi, this is Don Clark with FileMaker, and FM Database Consulting, and I'm here at FileMaker DevCon 2015, and right now I'm going to be interviewing Jeremy Bante. Jeremy,
hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now tell me where you are currently with which firm you. I know you develop on your own.
Right.
Do you have your own website for that?
I do not. I get all the business I need from subcontracting from larger firms.
Okay.
And I am perfectly happy to have other people taking care of sales for me.
Okay.
Most work through Beeswax right now.
Okay, so I saw it. You've been with several other major firms in the area. I was looking at your LinkedIn page, in the FileMaker community over the time. So tell me about your FileMaker experiences. How'd you get started?
Mom was a FileMaker developer.
Okay.
So in high school, one summer, she handed me this 3-inch thick book on Get Started in FileMaker 5.5, and when I was done reading, when I was done reading it, she started paying me $15 an hour. And what else is a 16-year-old kid in high school going to do for $15 an hour? And it's been a similar story ever since.
You fell in love with it.
It's just every step of the way. It's always been the most lucrative thing I had available to me.
Okay. I saw you're certified 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, going for 14, I'm sure. What's your favorite type of project in FileMaker? Do you have a favorite? Is there something you like? Mathematics, I think I saw.
Right. I'm trying to specialize in mathematically sophisticated applications, but I really like these moonshot level challenges. Something that's not just really labor intensive, but something where we're not really sure if we can do that, but we're going to try anyway.
Doing a lot of workarounds? Hacks?
We call them workarounds and hacks, but once you do them the third or fourth times, we may as well just call them techniques and eventually standard practice.
Yeah, like a virtual list or table or something like that. You know, those were pretty groundbreaking a few years ago, and now everybody pretty much uses them to normalize data and that kind of thing. So
exactly.
Normalize data, excuse me. Put all that stuff into one table. So what other things do you like to do?
I play piano every chance I get. I majored in it in school. And got lots of Rachmaninoff and Bach in.
Wow, that's neat. Mathematicians are supposed to be great pianists, though, isn't that right, or musicians?
That's what they keep telling me.
Well, I'm not a great mathematician nor a pianist, or any kind of a person who plays music. So that's the neat thing. Other hobbies?
I try to get into a lot of handy making stuff kind of crafts, but I usually try to mix it up, so I never invested in any one of them long enough to get good at it, because the part of learning to make a new kind of thing that's the most fun to me is the part where I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
And once I start to get comfortable and know what I'm doing, then that's a cue to me that it's time to pick up something new again.
Okay. So tell me, do you have a favorite FileMaker tool, like a plugin or a...
FM Clip Manager makes the biggest difference to my workflow most of the time.
Okay.
Because the bigger chunks of code that you can think about while you're doing your work, the faster you can go.
Yeah.
And if you have to, every time you write a script, write loop, exit loop, if, I plus 1, exit loop, the more you have to spend time thinking about that and getting sucked into those little details, the less time you can think about bigger picture problems, like how does this thing actually generate the result the user wants.
Yeah, that's the kind of the routine stuff that you still can make a mistake on, and it can stop you, slow you down for quite a bit.
In Clip Manager, I can just everyone can just build up this repository over time of this is the way I like to do this thing every time I do it.
And that's from FM My Butler, or?
Correct.
Right. Okay, that's right. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of fine products, and I asked them to come up here too. Hopefully, that'll work. So, any other fun things or tips or techniques you may have picked up here or from DevCon 2015? Have you been to any favorite sessions you've gone to so far?
The sessions by Luke Rochester about business intelligence have been pretty helpful. Later today he's going to do the session where he gets into the technical details about how to implement some of the math and the visual results of the dashboard, but the session he did yesterday was more about how to structure the project around building a dashboard, starting all the way from having the concept of a dashboard and actually having a working dashboard that users were using was actually only halfway in the process, and the other half of the project was going through and verifying that it fit with the people in the organization and all of the supporting systems too, which is a good insight.
And the data they're getting is accurate and meets their needs and that type of thing. So that's pretty interesting. One of the questions.
It's this notion that so many people forget that the project isn't done just because it works.
When is it done?
Well, ideally it isn't. But there's a perpetual cycle of verifying that what you made is the right thing to have made.
Yeah. That's part of the iterative cycle that you go back and forth until the client, like you said, is happy with the output, but then they're going to always think of more things, it seems like.
There's that, and then even with the things that you already built that work for them and changes life. What was appropriate last month may not be appropriate next year.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think about the future of FileMaker with all the things that are going on? Can't talk about the NDA stuff, but we heard some neat stuff yesterday, and are you optimistic and looking forward with it?
FileMaker exists in this sort of interesting place in the world of different programming tools, in that you don't have to go to university and take computer science classes to get started in it, but I'm not being very articulate in how I describe this. FileMaker has a very smooth on-ramp from I know nothing to I'm an expert in it, whereas in most other tools you have a very steep on-ramp of I know nothing, and then you spend weeks and months and years achieving basic competence.
That's true. And with FileMaker, the thing I see that most people struggle with is database concepts, the concept of a database and how to structure your thinking so that you can attack a problem and then program for that.
Right. And one of the nice things about FileMaker compared to other tools is that if there's one thing you want to accomplish, you don't have to learn how the rest of the tool works to be able to accomplish that necessarily.
That's true.
Whereas if you want to do anything in, say, Java, you have to understand all kinds of things about how object-oriented programming works that doesn't necessarily get you form the straight path from where you are to where you want to be.
Okay, that's true. And tell me, what was your one of your favorite projects anyway that you got to work on?
I had a project for a grocery store at one point where we were managing their inventory, and the challenge was they wanted something that would make it more efficient for the guys who were planning inventory for the next day, so they could go inform their buyers in the farmers markets what to buy and how much of it. And they were just doing this by eyeballing the numbers and just working with the experience of that staff member, which is, right, there are all kinds of information and logic that you can pack into a person's head that the computer will never be able to handle or will never think to put in the computer.
Right.
But that's a lot of work and trust to have to put into one person. And what happens if that person has a sick day and that person is good, but what if that person plus the inside of the computer could do even better than just the person could? So we started coming up with anchors. The FileMaker system was coming up with initial estimates just based on historical data to forecast the demand.
Right.
To give that person who is saying how much of what to buy sort of a starting point that would steer him in hopefully a more optimal direction than what he would have done by himself.
Right. Yeah, something needs to be done. Okay, you need to check this over here.
Yeah.
And here's what we normally order at this time of year, and what the normal stock level and that type of thing.
That type of thing. We're noticing the trend this year is people are really liking this one obscure variety of apple that just came on the market. Maybe you should order more of that instead.
Okay. And how'd that come out? Real well?
It's working great.
Wonderful. Would you have anything else you'd like to add?
Not off the top of my head.
All right. Well, let's close it up then. This is Don Clark again with FileMakerProGurus.com and FM Database Consulting. And Jeremy, tell us the website that you're working for Beeswax.
Right.
Okay,
And that's
website?
That's beeswax.net. BEEW. Sorry, no, you got it wrong. BEEZWAX.net.
Okay, so that's where you can reach Jeremy, and thanks very much. It's been a pleasure to meet you and talk with you, and hope to see you around the DevCon 2015 some more.
Sounds great.
Appreciate you coming up.